everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to talk you through how I made Mal's Descendants 3 engagement dress. Now, I really loved this dress as soon as I saw it and I knew I needed to make it immediately. So I began making the base of the dress. So I started off just with some purple fabric and started sewing the shape of it. I unfortunately did not document this very well, so I don't have any proper videos or photos of it, but this is as good as photos as I could get. The next step after the base was done was to start painting everything. Now, I started with the green base at the bottom of the dress. Now, I did a few different techniques on getting this on there, which included a bit of screen printing, a bit of using a roller, and a lot of hand painting. So once the green base was done, it was time to build up the texture. So I just basically went in with some more fabric paint and started adding the textures. Once the green on the skirt was done, I went in on the collar and just added the tiny little details. It's pretty much just a strip of green, strip of purple, and some dabs of purple and white paint on the collar. The next was starting to do the scales on the bodice of the dress. Now, I went in very similarly to how I did the green on the bottom of the dress. Just started off with the base and then built up with the texture. So I used pink, purple, and white here to get the texture. Once that was all done, I moved into starting to do the dragon on the dress. Now, the dragon goes over a couple of the details, so I had to mark this out and make sure I got it perfect before I started painting. But once I was happy with all the chalk and it looked right, I just went in with the pink fabric paint and started hand painting all the details on. Once the dress was all done, it was time to work on the dragon details on the back. So I started off just with the wings. I used leather and purple acrylic paint to get the texture on that. If I could redo this, I would go back and do leather paint because the acrylic does scratch off. Now, her little heart symbol I did out of foam and clay foam and just built that up and painted it again with just acrylic paint so it matched the colour of the wings. So the next was the shoes. I definitely could not afford $300 to spend on a pair of shoes that I was going to paint, so I just bought some cheap shoes from Big W and painted them myself. I started just with purple spray paint and then hand painted the gold in and added the details. Next up was a wig. I had to go in and hand paint with a Sharpie marker all the black roots on. It took a very long time, but once that was all done, I was able to style it. So I went through and just straightened everything and then used rollers, rolled the hair up and pinned them, and just used steam to keep it all in place. The last thing to do was to make all the details. Now, her gloves and this bracelet have a very specific dragon pattern, so I used a template and traced that onto leather. Some of them I then had to go back over and paint and then just use some glue to attach them. So this is the final result. Pretty happy with it. The very last thing to do was her belt buckle. Now, I started off making this one from clay foam and just painting it. It definitely did not last more than one wear. It did start to break, so I had to look into alternatives, which one of my friends actually found this for me online. So I purchased a few of them, and then just using a nail polish, I went through and painted all the details that I needed to paint on. Once the base was done, I just went back through and used a few different brushes to blend out some more extra textures that Mal has on her belt buckle. The next thing to do was to get the crystals to actually shine again and not be covered in nail polish. So just using a cotton earbud and a nail polish paintbrush, I went through using a nail polish remover and just got all that nail polish covering the crystals off so they could be really shiny and, yeah, look really good in the sun. So this is before and after. I can 100% tell you after is so much better, and it lasts. When I move, it does not break.